One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
I am here to sing for Michael Crawford, and I have always loved the Kennedy Center Honors. This is my fourth time getting to perform for the honors, and it's a thrill every year. It's a highlight, something we look forward to all year because it's just so classy and so magical and such a celebration of excellence in the arts. I'm so honored to be here. I do not take a single second of it for granted. I'm like, pinch me right now. Like the best of the best are here tonight, and I'm just so grateful to be included amidst them.
This is my third time. I was here for James Earl Jones, I was here for Jerry Herman, and now I'm here for actually Michael Crawford. But for the whole gang, I mean, it's an extraordinary event, and I'm really glad that there seems to be such excitement about it right now. I'm really, really happy about that.
I think it would be probably, I'm not showing you now, probably very emotional. I mean, you know, we've had a long journey. And, we came from nowhere, and here we are, in front of the President of the United States. I think it's going to be wonderful. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be well-deserved. I mean, he inspired so many kids. Kids started exercising. People, started just the whole spirit, people running up the steps. It was a movie that is like Kismet. It's a movie that came out at the right time. And it really inspired so many people to do so many things that if you work hard enough and you have belief, that you can make something happen with your life.
I'm here to honor Michael Crawford, and he has certainly paved the way for people like me to come along after him and to be on Broadway, and he had so many iconic roles that define musical theater. And so I just feel very thankful to be here this year. There's a lot of changes happening, and I think a lot of beauty and celebration of the arts, which makes me very, very happy. And I can't wait to get to sing a song that I love directly to Michael Crawford, who has certainly shaped this art form. It's the honor of a lifetime. I mean, it truly is a dream, and I love, art and country and bringing those two things together, because I feel very thankful that I get to follow my own dreams and my own work and to pursue the arts in this way, and to do it at this level is really, it's just, it's so special. I can't even quite put words to it, but it's, I'm honored to be at the honors, that's for sure.
It is such an honor to be here. I am here to honor Gloria Gaynor. Gloria and I are from two very different generations, but we have a beautiful, beautiful friendship. We've collaborated together, made some amazing videos together, and I'm so excited and honored to be here to honor her incredible legacy and to be at the Kennedy Center, where so much history has been made, what they do for the arts as a musician, as an actor. I am just so incredibly grateful. This is a dream. This is a dream. This is, I feel like, the highest honor, truly, and I just couldn't be more grateful that I was asked to be a part of this beautiful event, and it's going to be incredible.
Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Ace Frehley, Peter Criss were an integral part of my upbringing. Kiss had a profound effect not only on me as a person, but as a professional, as an artist. It's what I do with Mind Freak. Everything to thank to Kiss, to Paul and the guys. These are actually Paul's boots that I'm wearing right now from his last end of the days Kiss tour at Madison Square Garden. So Paul sent them to me, and I just thought it was absolutely poetic to be wearing them, and honored to know that man and to be inspired by that man, and the band has just been incredible. Kiss is an all-American band. I mean, born and raised and bred in New York, it's amazing, and to have President Trump bestow the honor upon Kiss is it's the perfect time.
I want to talk to you guys about this thing here. This is a bearskin hoodie. It's I'm in Florida. It gets kind of cool sometimes, but I know some of you people living up north, you might need this. And if you're stuck wondering, what the heck do you get the guy in your family for Christmas? Listen up. This bearskin hoodie. You can see it. Okay, I'm just moving around. I'm being a spokesmodel right now. I'm letting you see how it is and everything. It's pretty warm. It's got pockets for pockets. It's got pockets inside of pockets. There's pockets everywhere. And they told me to say this is for the guy in your life, but I don't know about that. I think because Robin loves them, it's also for the woman in your life. Skip socks and thermal underwear, skip the gift card. This year, get him or her something they will actually use, especially this winter. You should get them a bearskin hoodie. These hoodies are built for serious cold weather. It's got 340 GSM of bearskin fleece. Very nice. 10 legit pockets all over the place. I mean, seriously, there are pockets everywhere in this thing. And it gives you a nice, tight, muscular fit. Even at my size, it's nice and tight. And it even zips into a heavy storm rain jacket to turn into full winter waterproof armor. You've got to take a look at this because I absolutely love it, even though I am not in a cold weather area. I love the idea of wearing this bearskin. The other day when I was sick, and I had to take Midas out in the morning. And in the morning, it's about 60. Don't come at me. It's about 60, 62 sometimes, a little chilly. And so I go out there with this, and I'm fine. Those of you guys out there, hiking and doing certain things, hunting, traveling, or just if you hate being in the cold, this is the last hoodie you will ever need. And the best part about the entire thing with Bearskin is running their biggest deal of the year at 60% off for Christmas with extended returns. I doubt you'll have to return anything. Plus, it's got free shipping, U.S. shipping from their Kentucky warehouse. So here's how to get yours. As you can see on the screen, all you have to do is text Barry to 36912. That's Barry to 36912, and they'll shoot you a link on your phone to lock in your pricing, your 60% off, and then you can just buy it there. And then when you shop with Bearskin, you're not just giving a killer gift like this hoodie. You're also supporting the fallen outdoors and the Hope for the Warriors Veterans Program. This Christmas, don't give them another stocking filler. Get them a Bearskin hoodie. Get her a Bearskin hoodie. It's 60% off. Just go ahead and dial or text Barry to 36912. I think it's a great deal. I think it's an amazing deal. And trust me, it is warm in here. They're like, Barry, I want you to wear it. I'm like, you realize I live in Florida, right? I'm going to burn up. But in any event. All right. We're back here live, straight up live, looking for some fun tonight. So I want you guys to really enjoy yourself. I want you to sit back. I'm going to start with a little bit of news. It's only 7:15. The actual show starts at 8 o'clock. So we're going to do some news right off the bat. We're going to talk about some stuff that President Trump posted. And President Trump is obviously quite proud of this event. And he posted earlier this morning about it. He said the Trump Kennedy Center honors will be broadcast tonight on CBS and also stream on Paramount Plus. Tune in at 8 p.m. At the request of the board and just about everybody else in America, I am hosting the event. That alone might be worth the price of admission. To see President Trump host this event. Oh, and by the way, this isn't a 30-minute event. It's not an hour event. It looks as though this may run 90 minutes to 2 hours. So your president is going to be on stage a lot, introducing people, bringing them back on. I don't know if he's going to do jokes. This is going to be very interesting. It says here, tell me what you think of my master of ceremony abilities. If really good, would you like me to lead the presidency? No, that ain't happening. In order to make hosting a full-time job, we will be honoring true greats in history of entertainment: Sylvester Stallone, Michael Crawford, Kiss, George Strait, and Gloria Gaynor. So you're going to have to settle in. We're going to be here probably until, I don't know how long this thing is going to go. It looks like it's booked for at least 2 hours. That means it doesn't start to 8. And so we're going to be here from at least now until 10:30. Once I do super chats, and well, I won't be able to do super chats because we're going to have to jump over to Rumble in a little while. And I'll give you all that information because if I did the entire show here on YouTube, you would be looking at a blank screen. So that being said, let's talk about some things. Yesterday when I did my show, I talked about prosperity. I've been talking about prosperity a lot. And I've been saying that the news that you're getting on X is not the real news. It's news meant to confuse you. It's news meant to demoralize you. It's not the real news. And so it's probably of no breaking story to you that at this point, silver is now getting close to $72 an ounce. This isn't a commercial. I'm not going to go back through all that, but I'm just saying there are so many things happening with the economy right now that the left won't talk about. Many people on the right won't talk about. And so it's going to be up to you to educate yourself and to prosper from the information that you're seeing. I can only show you so much. And so I've shown you ad nauseum about the silver. And as of right now, it's at about $72 an ounce. And that's pretty amazing because as I've been giving these things out to everybody, this one thing that fits in the palm of my hand right there, that's $72. When I first started doing this show, it was about $20, 22. So this is flying right now. You're seeing, you may not see, but there are people who are turning into, I won't say millionaires, but they're getting comfortable just on one move. That's buying silver and gold. Gold's at about $4,500. So that's all I'm going to say about silver and gold. You have enough information now where you can go out and get get some. And I found something very interesting today. Two things happened. Two things that happened to me personally. When I made a video and I posted it on X earlier, and as I was standing there, a FedEx truck came by and it caught my attention. I'm like, oh, here comes the FedEx guy. And little did I know, my neighbor knows that FedEx guy, and we're talking, and here's what the conversation was. Man, you must be hustling. I keep seeing you here 3 or 4 times a day. And, don't they put the boxes on the truck and route you correctly? And he goes, they got us on 24/7. We can't keep up. Real. I'm like, what? 24/7? What you don't see is what happens back at the warehouse and everything else, but they can't keep up with the demand. I thought that's pretty cool. Then Robin we went shopping and she wanted to get bows. And she wanted to get bows to put on the presents. We went to the first dollar store. Not a single bow in the store. The lady at the store said, go try, down the road. So we went to the second dollar store. Sorry, not a single bow in the store. At which point Robin looked at me and goes, I thought people keep saying the economy's bad and the stores we go to can't keep up with the amount of people shopping. So then we went to a Walgreens, and I said, Robin, Walgreens has got to have it. And just as we got there, a truck pulled up with more boxes of bows, and so she bought bows for next year. She got all kinds of bows. So if you need bows, hook up, let Robin know. She might send you some. But we had to go to 3 separate stores just to find bows to put on the presents for the grandkids. Just bows. So in the span of an hour or two, we had the FedEx guy going, we can't keep up. And then going to stores and we don't have any more. Sold out, done. I'm like, you realize it's only the 23rd. You got 2 days left, 23rd and 24th. People are going to be shopping. We're done. We're sold out. We don't have anything. And it just made me think again after yesterday's diatribe, when I told you things aren't as they appear, and then go out today and they're really not as they appear. Makes me wonder, what the hell are these people trying to pull on X? Why are they trying to obfuscate? And forget obfuscate. Why are they trying to lie so much? I don't know. I really don't know what if they're getting paid. Doesn't make any sense. So President Trump, in talking about that himself, brought up the economy. And here's what he said. Third quarter GDP came in at 4.3%, blowing past expectations of 3.2. 60 of the 61 Bloomberg economics got it wrong. How can you be an expert if 60 of you get it wrong? If you're in a room of 61 economists and all 60 out of the 61 blow it, maybe you guys aren't the experts you think you are. Geniuses and some other geniuses got it right. The success is due to good government and tariffs. Consumer spending is strong. Net exports are way up. Imports and trade deficits are way down. And there's no inflation. Because of my tax bill, the big, beautiful bill, and tariffs, investment is setting records. Records. Not just getting by. The economy is the numbers are setting records. I showed you yesterday afternoon or last night, $1 trillion. Let me just say that. Let it roll off the tongue here. $1 trillion has been sold during the holiday season, or purchased, depending on which side of the register you're on. $1 trillion, first time in history, setting records. Hey, the economy sucks. What is wrong with the people on X? What are they trying to do to you? What are they trying to simply portray? And because you haven't seen anything yet. I love that. You haven't seen anything yet. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. The President of the United States is telling you haven't seen anything yet. And I've been telling you, if this is what we're seeing, I can concur. You haven't seen anything yet. It's going to take off because it has no choice but to take off. I've made my analogy of this thoroughbred being stuck in the paddock and the gates won't open. And they're keeping the gates closed because they don't want that thoroughbred to run wild. They're holding the reins, not letting this horse go. It's ready to run. It's ready to run hard in about 7 to 10 days. And all the obfuscation and lies and distractions about Epstein and everybody else, it's not stopping. They can't stop what's coming. You've heard that quite some time. And President Trump addressed that. This is a long one that he put up. I mean, the market stays even or goes down because Wall Street's heads are wired differently. Strong markets, even phenomenal markets, don't cause inflation. I mean, this is just a long one he goes on. And I realized as I was reading this, one of the problems that we're seeing is that people don't understand the jargon. They don't understand GDP. They don't understand basis points and interest. They don't understand it because they were never taught it. And so people on X can go ahead and gaslight you because they know you have no idea. I don't mean you specifically, but the general public has no idea what the hell's going on. None whatsoever. That's what we have to change. We have to get it to the point where people can see stuff like President Trump is putting out here. And he's talking about 10, 15, 20 GDP points in a year, maybe even more than that. That literally is 1.21 gigawatts. I don't have it on this computer. Otherwise, I would be hitting it right now. And so the theme of what I'm getting ready to show you news-wise is I don't think you're ready. I don't think most of America is ready for what's about to happen. One of the things my dad always told me is prepare for the worst. Because if you prepare for the worst, the upside will take care of itself. So if you've got a base, you've got a foundation where, you know what, if things, poop hits the fan, I'm good. Everybody knows that base. If this happens, I'm a be okay. Are you prepared for the upside? Have you sat back and said, you know, what if the stuff Barry's saying, and he's only repeating what Trump is saying, and he's repeating what Howard Lutnick and Scott Bessent are saying, what if these people are right? What if this thing is about to take off on a rocket ship? See, everybody can stay broke. You don't need any help being broke. You can be broke and not change being broke. There's nothing going to happen. A body at rest will stay at rest until you do something. So if you got your basis point, like, yeah, I'm not doing that well. All right. Now you got 8 days. 8 days at minimum. You may have a month to begin making your plans based upon what I'm going to be showing you and what I have been showing you. By the way, I may have to check out here at about 8, 9 o'clock because I'm going to have to hit and see what the Shanghai market's doing. The Shanghai market, you have any idea what I'm talking about? I'd love to look in the chat and say, anybody know what Barry's talking about with the Shanghai market? Well, the Shanghai market, obviously it's in China, is going to open up. So their commodities market will be opening up while we're going to bed. And then you're going to see what happens with silver over there, which then will affect silver here tomorrow. What is that? So then you're going to have to realize if it's 72 right now and you go to bed and Shanghai opens and Shanghai goes nuts, you may be looking at, 75, 76 tomorrow. We may be looking at 100 next week. But you have to be watching at the same time. And the numbers we're seeing, the actual numbers that we're seeing, we've never seen before. We are in, like I was talking about Back to the Future, where we're going, we don't need roads. This is such way up here. I mean, I had posted something earlier, and I know a lot of people got pissed off. It wasn't pissed off at me. They were pissed off because of what Debbie Wasserman Schultz did. And let me show you this post I put up. I want to let me scroll down to it. Where is she? I posted a lot today. Hold on. Let me find this because I wanted to show this to you. A lot of people got pissed. Oh, one of the things I posted, which we can talk about here real quick, is we're all sitting together yesterday. We're all watching the conference when President Trump talked about the destroyers and the battleships, and Pete Hegseth talked and everything else. And then I asked this question. Yesterday, President Trump announced a huge deal about making warships. After he made that announcement, what did you do? You see, as you're listening to these things and he's disclosing to you, whether it's a soft disclosure or whatever you want to call it, when he's disclosing this stuff to us as Americans and he's saying, I'm about to build some boats, notice the background here. Everybody focused on the boats. Well, they're going to be building some really cool boats here. What do you see in the background of that picture? You're looking at a stock image that I put together of things going through the roof. And they did for a couple companies. But you probably didn't see that happening. You weren't listening to what President Trump was saying. And because you weren't listening, you couldn't take action on just exactly what he was talking about. I want to show you something else. This probably get a lot of you pissed off, right? You ready for this one? This was something I posted. Trump sucks. Arrest him. But please don't arrest him. Let me move that. Please don't arrest him before I make 300% on my money. Been telling you over and over that Democrats do the exact same things as Republicans financially. I've been telling you that. Everything you see in public is BS. Everything they do in private, they're doing all the same thing. They are politically socialistic and financially Republican. And so Debbie Wasserman Schultz, from one of the guests that we spoke to on this show quite some time ago, back at the Pelosi Stock Tracker, back on September 24th, they flagged a buy of hers. Why was it suspicious? It was called Helka. Helka is the largest silver producer in America. She also sat on the Environment, Manufacturing, and Critical Minerals subcommittees. She has a history of being one of the best political traders out there. Since her filings on September 24th, Helka is up 200%. Sounds like a lot of money being made by some people who want to be socialist. Did you give that money away to the poor? Hell no. They're making moves. You need to be making moves. They understand, hey, Trump sucks, arrest him, but don't do it yet because we're getting banked. We're making a whole lot of money based upon what Trump is doing. And I know that pisses you off because right now, many of you are like, immediately, that's illegal. She should go to jail. And I'm like, you're missing it. Again, you're doing the X thing. You can't put her in jail. You can't file any charges. Doesn't matter what you think. Doesn't matter what I think. What matters is she showed us something that's made, and as of now, I think it's like 280%. Helka. Understanding where the puck is going. Oh, Debbie Wasserman Schultz bought this. Scumbag, sorry ass, need to get some. See, your initial rage is to go back into X and tell everybody she's a scumbag, she's doing insider trading, where the rest of everybody else is, we need to be doing that. We need to be like Mike. Remember the commercial? I want to be like Mike. Well, be like Debbie. Let other people put her in jail. You need to be like Debbie and all the other ones. And it's a completely different mindset. It's a very hard mindset to understand because initial rage detracts you. deters you from success. I'm sure immediately everybody's like, that little scumbag needs to go to jail for insider trading. Yep. Can you put her there? Nope. What can you do with this information? Oh, yeah. Once I put away the rage, I can say, I need to look at this or that. When I do away with the rage, or not rage, but when President Trump announces the boats, all of a sudden he's going to be making boats, lots of ships. He mentioned to you steel, a lot of other stuff. They're going to need stuff to make those boats. Whether you're a pacifist or not, that doesn't matter. Whether you don't like Debbie Wasserman Schultz and what she's doing with silver, that doesn't matter. If you want a seat on this rocket ship, you've got to train your brain. You've got to be able to look at signals. And so with that being said, I want to show you some signals that the Trump administration was putting out today so that you can pay attention to this.
GDP, second time around the block, delayed. Third quarter numbers, we're looking for 3.3. Zoom, zoom, zoom. 4.3%. 4.3%. That is a nice jump. And I know many may question day the gathering, but on the surface, this would be the strongest quarter going back to the third quarter of 2023 when it was 4.7. This is strong. 3.5 on consumption blows away the 2.7 we were expecting. That will be the best since the last quarter of 24.
A new report shows the U.S. economy was much stronger than expected in the third quarter. GDP grew at the fastest rate in 2 years. Americans are also seeing some prices ease at the grocery store.
This is CNN. The other one was CNBC. This is CNN having to admit on television, yeah, things are kind of taking off. Eggs are down 21%, coffee's down 35%, bacon is down 1.2, tomatoes are down 10, fresh whole chicken 1.5, milk down 3.4%. This is CNN. This is CNN. If CNN is talking about it, you know it's something even they can't contain. But people are saying the economy sucks. Nothing's happening. But if you're not looking at the right data, you might think so as well.
Or the cost of eggs, milk, chicken, and tomatoes are all down, as you see here on the screen.
Kevin, let's just take the top line number here. 4.3% growth. That's a big number, bigger than expected. Your initial reaction?
Stunning. Very rarely you get a miscalculation like this. I mean, if you're the administration, you're loving this number.
The miscalculation he's talking about is the 60 out of the 61 economists who said it's going to tank. The tariffs are going to be bad for the economy. And everything, by every single measure, it's not true. And so you've got Democrat congressmen making videos and putting stuff out on X saying, oh, everything sucks. When in reality, in real life, it's not that way. I saw a video today from a guy he took a small video of himself at a gas station, and his gas was like 189. You need to get off of X. If you're not seeing this stuff, number one, you need to find out why. Then number two, start looking for it.
There's a huge upside miss if you want to look at it that way. So we're actually waiting for the recession that never comes. This is an extraordinary situation. It's been a remarkably long number of years since we've had a recession, and yet these numbers tell you it's a long way off.
So when people are saying that we're looking at a recession in 2026, not even close. None of the vital signs at this point are pointing to recession. So how can the people be saying so much completely different stuff on some of the social networks? Well, they're being paid to, or they're trying to do their best to make you look the other way and feel a certain way. I mean, I see it happen here in the in the chat. When people say, I tried to call Lear and they said you had minimum was to be 10,000, and that's not true. So I don't know if people post that because they want to, or they didn't listen to what Kevin DeMeritt said. There is a minimum buy for a salesperson because obviously they're really busy. They're not going to take a phone call for a $300 or $400 buy. They're directing you to go to the website. If you go to the website, you can buy in smaller increments. I keep telling people that, but you're going to have to train yourselves to get the right information. If you don't listen to the right information, you're not going to be able to act.
Prices, they've been under control really all year, and they're ending the year at especially low levels. So the national average, $2.86 a gallon. That's down by 21 cents from a month ago. It's also the lowest level since April of 2021. Now, gas prices were pretty low a year ago, too, but they're even lower right now. When you look across the country, there's 10 states where the average is below $2.50 a gallon, right? Including
All right, so those states are Wisconsin, Iowa, Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas. Other than Colorado, all those states are red states. Am I correct? Wisconsin's close, but most of those states are indeed red states. So the gas is coming down a lot in the red states. Why are the blue states somewhat farther behind? Because it's intentional. That's what we're trying to tell you guys, is that you're being conned. You're being scammed.
Louisiana, Texas, Wisconsin, Iowa, Colorado. Oklahoma has the cheapest gas price in the country at $2.29 a gallon. And this trend could continue at least for a bit. Gas Buddy is projecting that the national average on Christmas Day will be just $2.79 a gallon. That would take out the low from last year, which was previously the lowest since 2020. And Gas Buddy says this will save drivers about $500 million over what they spent last year.
$500 million in collective savings. Americans will be $500 million richer because President Trump is in office. No other reason. The fact that gas prices have come down that far is going to equate into a minimum of $500 million in Americans' pockets. But yet, people keep saying the economy is bad. How can it be? Everybody's now seeing the same data. There's no shenanigans going on. And I had one guy go, well, Barry, how do we know this data is true? Because, it kind of coincides with the Epstein stuff. Oh, so you believe that Trump is all over the Epstein stuff, and that he's been on the Epstein stuff since Obama and Biden were president. He's ran for president against Kamala, and now all of a sudden these things are showing up. That's what you believe. But when you go to the pump yourself and exchange your credit card, your debit card, or cash, you don't believe that. You don't go into a store tomorrow. See what it looks like. You won't believe your actual eyes. At this point, your biggest lever, your biggest calculator for success is your eyes. See what people are doing. Everywhere we went today, things were packed. I don't know, mileage may vary. It may be different where you are, but it was packed where we were.
Collectively. Not each, collectively. And so, look, this hopefully will help people kind of feel a little bit better about their wallets.
If people feel better about their wallets, what does that mean? And I ask you that question sincerely, because if people feel better about their finances, what does that mean? It means consumer sentiment goes up, which means these polls are full of crap, are the ones that are showing Trump's approval numbers are in the toilet. Not if you're asking the right people. Not if you're asking real people. This just happened this morning, so we shall see how it goes.
it's a fantastic report, 4.3%. It's just about as good as GDP numbers get. And especially coming, on the heels of the CPI report, Consumer Price Index report we got, which you actually showed some interesting data that is consistent with. This showed that core inflation is all the way down to 1.6%. And so I think that these numbers are showing that President Trump's trade policy and his supply side policy, which is really increasing new factory production and so on.
All right, so guess what he said there in like 30 seconds. If you don't know, if it sounds Greek, supply side, he talked about GDP, CPI. They're throwing out the alphabets at you. And even the lady on CNN seems to have her look like this, like, I don't, they just tell me to push the button. I don't even know what the hell you're saying. It's incumbent upon you to go look up GDP, CPI. Look up all these things. Start getting comfortable with them. You have the time. I know you got the time because you're on here. You can be looking this stuff up. Hey, Grok, what the hell is CPI and why does it matter to me? Hey, Grok, what is GDP and how is it influenced and how does it matter to me? I always put that tag on for people who don't understand. How does it matter to me? Hey, gas prices are down. How does it matter to me? Gas prices are down. I live in Idaho. How does it matter to me? And that way you'll break it down even further than the very topical information that you're seeing on television, if you're even seeing this.
Is having a big effect, as is his trade policy. So if we abstract from the reduction of the trade deficit, then the 4.3% number would only be 2.6%. So Trump's trade policy is really working as well.
Did you see her face? Either she's got to go to the bathroom or she has no idea what he just said. I mean, she wasn't smiling. She wasn't like, she just had this consternation about her. And I feel that's what happens with a lot of people. They have consternation. They don't get it. It's moving too fast. Nobody's taking the time they'll take the time to explain it on page 95 of the Epstein doc of January 5th, 1988. Trump's name is listed like twice. They'll give you all that detail. Hey, excuse me, can you tell me what the GDP is and how's that going to affect me in 2026? Huh? I mean, stuff that actually matters to me and my wife, stuff that actually matters to my pocketbook. Can we talk about that? No. No, thanks for having me. And he's gone. That's it.
What we are going to see next year, that if you think about the signature parts of the tax bill, I think that the most powerful parts had the immediate expensing for American business, permanent for equipment, and then 4 or 5 year window for factories. So we are already seeing a CapEx boom. So 2025 was a CapEx boom. I think that is.
See what I mean? I mean, he's so brilliant. Maybe the left is thinking he's ready to go to sleep because he's got his eyes shut, but he's going through in his mind all the different things, the CapEx boom. What's CapEx? By now you should know what CapEx is. And in 26, and he's in tune. He's in the zone right there. He knows how this is going to come out and he's thinking deeply. And I would be sitting there with a pencil going, okay, what you got next? Talk to me.
Going to accelerate with all the trade deals we've done. I was just about 6 weeks ago in my hometown of Charleston, South Carolina. Boeing, the largest employer there, is increasing their plant by 50% for the Dreamliners, result of the trade deals, but it's also part of the tax deal. So we're going to continue seeing this CapEx boom that turns into an employment boom. On the other side.
Okay. Stop, Scott. As he's focusing on everything he's trying, and what he's trying to do, even with the brilliance that he's had, these guys are smart, and he's still trying to bring it down to their level. Because now you would think to yourself, that if there's a CapEx boom, why would there be an employment boom? Well, if people are buying more tractors, if they're buying more forklifts, if they're buying more cash registers, if they're buying more fuel pumps, whatever you're buying as a business, somebody has to be operating that stuff. There's got to be more forklift drivers. There's got to be more, people at the cash register. So the whole thing that people have had a problem with trickle down, they don't understand. I'm going to spend 50,000 or 100 grand buying a forklift. I ain't driving it. Who's driving it? Nobody yet. I got to hire that person. So if you're looking for a job here in South Carolina, and you now know that Boeing is going to basically increase their plant by 50%, then there's going to be a whole bunch more jobs, which means a whole bunch more people who are going to need housing, a whole bunch more people are going to need food, a whole bunch more people are going to need gas. And that's how you grow the economy. But the Democrats and idiots on X don't talk about that. Not at all.
For working Americans, the president, I led the administration's team up on the Hill in terms of what was non-negotiable for the president. And a lot of traditional Republicans didn't like his campaign promises to working Americans, and the president never yielded on this. So no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, deductibility of auto loans for American-made cars. So the bill was done on July 4th. It's retroactive to the beginning of the year. For working Americans, retroactive to January 20th. For corporates, so working Americans, I also have the honor of being the IRS commissioner, and I can see that we're going to have a gigantic refund year in the first quarter.
All right. So hope you wrote that down, because the big beautiful bill is going to pay you back, and it's retroactive. So a lot of people say, oh, the big beautiful bill's taking place in January, so I get no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, all this kind of stuff. And what he just told you, which you should have known for quite some time, is that that's retroactive. So what that means, retroactive means it goes back. It's not starting on January 1st. It's starting, I forget what he said, say June 1st of last year, of this year. It just passed. So everything you made from June of this year, and don't quote me on the dates, you'll have to listen to this again and get the actual dates, because this specifically affects you. And he just dropped it real fast. People, wait. I can go back to June or whatever it was, and all the money I've made all this way, you're going to let me claim no tax on tips of all that money too? Yep. And by the way, I can say that because I'm also the commissioner of the IRS. So tell me if you now know that, if you didn't know that a lot of this, maybe I should, let me go ahead and push that back, because there may be some of you who aren't quite aware of what this guy just said and may want to write that down, because that's a bunch of money coming your way. A whole lot of money coming your way that you may not have even thought of. So let me let you get the exact date so you can write this down.
On July 4th, it's retroactive to the beginning of the year. For working Americans, retroactive to January 20th. For corporates, so working Americans, I also have the honor of being the IRS commissioner, and I can see that we're going to have a gigantic refund year in the first quarter, because no one changed working Americans did not change their withholding. So
have you changed your withholding? See, they're not talking about this. This is the stuff, if you're not listening, say, wait a second, you're going to come around in April and go, my refund wasn't that much. Did you change your withholding? Did you go back to July? Did you include all that money and say, I get all this back? If you're not listening and getting prepared and going into your HR office or wherever it is and saying, I need to change my withholding because I want to make sure I get all the benefits of the big, beautiful bill.
I think households could see, depending on the number of workers, $1,000, $2,000 refunds. They will change their withholding schedule at the beginning of the year, and they will get an automatic increase in real wages. So I think that's going to be a very powerful combo of corporate and individuals.
All right, so that I could probably do an entire show just on that nobody's hearing about. How am I supposed to get these benefits in 2026? And it's going to be available to me right as soon as I, file my taxes, and I'm going to get these additional refunds that I wasn't getting before. You think that's going to change consumer sentiment when people are getting a lot more money? Well, not in some blue states, because they're going to try and steal it. There are blue states that are already trying to put laws in place that say, although the federal government is telling you you don't have to pay the income tax on your tips and overtime, we're going to take it. Which has to be challenged in court. They're doing nothing but trying to steal from Americans. Unreal.
You're sitting there with Steve. What do you think of what you just heard?
I think this is a very, very impressive GDP report. As Steve correctly pointed out, 8% essentially nominal GDP growth. Consumer spending really beat expectations. This is pretty unusual. I mean, we had the monthly data for July, August, and September, so the only thing left was revisions, and the revisions were huge. Otherwise, you can just take the July, August, September number and get 2.7% consumer spending growth. So the fact that we went to 3.5 on consumer spending suggests that the revisions were quite aggressive, and the other components were also probably pretty good to get to 4.3%. I mean, we wrote in our year ahead piece that the economy rarely grows below 2% when we're not in a recession, and yet the Fed keeps saying that 1.8 is the trend growth rate, but looks like we'll get another 2 handle this year.
There's another conclusion we need to make to this, Aditya. I want to get your thoughts on this. Getting back, Joe, to the very interesting report I did at 7 a.m.
Yes.
I'm joking because Joe was suggesting it.
No, you said it was going to be interesting. I said, you're kidding.
This number, 4.3% GDP growth, in what has been tallied as the worst quarter for employment growth since 2019, suggests
productivity growth is off the charts.
It suggests that productivity growth is off the charts. That's the lead at Bank of America Securities doing this interview with CNBC. The productivity chart, it's off the charts. And so it's not being measured until the next time it's measured, which is probably a month from now, but it's already starting to heat up. And nobody, I mean, seriously, I have looked on X and I have scrolled and I have scrolled and I have scrolled. I don't see anybody talking about it. I don't know why. I feel like I'm sometimes on an island because I look around and go, Rob, you see anybody? Because nobody's talking about this. Of course, the MSNBC and the CNBCs and Fox Business and like that. But individuals who are influencers, not a word. Not a freaking word. They're not even talking about silver. Hey, I don't know.
Charts productivity growth. Yep.
Right. Well, it's really a fantastic number, and it's a great Christmas present for the American people. And, I would say that the headline for me is two things. I think the big macro trends that we're seeing in these numbers are, first of all, that President Trump's trade agenda is working. And so we got about, 1.5% of the growth on 4.3 because we reduced the trade deficit. And then the other thing that I think, which is a big macro thing that we're seeing, is that the artificial intelligence productivity boom is really clearly in the data. And I guess you and I are old enough to remember back in the 90s when the computer came in, that all of a sudden you had like 4% quarters all the time, one after the other, and it kept surprising people because they thought, computers everywhere, but in the productivity data, but we're seeing it in the data, and we're seeing the same kind of regular surprises for market participants. And so we went back and we looked at every Bloomberg forecast for the main numbers since September and found that on average we outperformed the forecast 94% of the time. So if 94% of Wall Street economists are getting the macro trends wrong, they need to start to think about, hey,
how can they all be getting it wrong unless they're doing it on purpose? If 90% of the people looking at the data in advance and making these forecasts and they're doing it wrong, they can't be that stupid. They have to be doing it on purpose, intentionally, to try and make Trump look bad. Again, this is a thoroughbred racehorse just ready to take off. And I don't know what moves you need to make and how you're going to make them, but at this point, you got to look and face the facts of what's happening and stop letting idiots tell you crazy stuff. I can't be more emphatic.
You know, maybe Trump's policies are actually way better than we thought. And maybe the fake news that says all these terrible things about Trump policies should reconsider and, grab their pencil and redo their economics.
We are looking right now at the GDP number at 4.3% is the actual number versus an estimate of 3.3%. Mark Tepper, your reaction.
So last week we talked about inflation coming in lower than expected. Now economic growth is 1 full percentage point faster than expected. It was supposed to come in at 3.3, came in at 4.3. This is a direct result of everything President Trump has put in place. Net exports are on the rise because of Trump's tariff policy, which is leveling the trade playing field. AI is increasing productivity, businesses are investing and spending, and the consumer remains strong. And just think, next quarter, they'll end up getting an extra $150 billion in refund checks that they
extra $150 billion
can then deploy and spend as well. So great number.
Great number, 4.3%. And I've got to say, when I see a GDP of 4.3%, I have to believe 5% is not far away. Yeah. And that, of course, is what Louis Navellier told us last week, Mark, that we're going to see a 5% GDP handle in the first half of the year.
That indeed is... That what she just said is that moment. I wish I had the button here, 1.21 gigawatts. Because that is actually going to be amazing. So I want you guys, we're getting ready to do the show. I'm cutting this early so I can do what I need to do. And what we need you guys to do is, so at this point, we're going to be shutting down YouTube. And we're going to be shutting down YouTube and we're going to be going over to Rumble. Just go to that link. Just put that specific link into your browser and it'll take you to the channel. So just go there now. Go ahead and get ready. It is 7:56, 7:57. I want to make sure you don't miss anything. I'm going to have to put the music on because I have to make sure that I'm on there exactly at 8 o'clock. And so any super chats, I will say them at the end of the show. But I've got to get configured. You got to get over there. We got to make sure that everybody's on time so we don't miss any of this stuff. Let me put the other banner up so you guys can see it. This is the banner that you need to go to. So get over there right now. And I'm going to try to configure everything so we're ready to go in about 2 minutes. Let's do this. Let's do this.